Good afternoon. Yes, I did say good afternoon. I'm doing this in the morning, in the afternoon instead of my normal morning. I'm doing it at about 1 o'clock p.m. It's in the heat of the day, but it only gets worse as the afternoon progresses, as the sun begins to shine directly into the window here in my studio. It still hasn't come down to the western horizon enough to really heat up my room. And today's venture was very much with me. It got me out of my air-conditioned environment, my respite, to come here and brave the stillness and the warmth of my meditation room / production room. And you can't guess, when I put on my Hawaii shirt, it's normally because I'm feeling very, what's the word? Reflective. And since I spent such a big part of my life in Hawaii, and a lot of good times and good friends, it just calls my name. Of course, I'm limited to my wardrobe because of the heat. As it cools off, have a little variancy. But I like black because it doesn't show the sweat from being in this room. And again, nostalgia is a word I was searching for. Sometimes they go and then they'll come when I least suspect. But more and more in a timely manner, I see that the words will come to me quicker than they used to. Now that I'm practicing, that I'm doing these expressions almost daily, every other day at least. And if you look at the paintings, they're drawings actually. And they were drawn for me by a wonderful student who didn't sign them. I wish she had. I want to track her down and let her know how meaningful these 2 drawings that she had done. I gave her some parameters. That's me in earlier and maybe better times. And this was my uniform, my costume. This is what I described to her, and I described that I wanted to have a Zen center from a vision from earlier days. And this is what she came up with. I really love it. And again, if any of you out there can help me, let's track her down. I have a few students that could probably help. Probably wouldn't take much effort, but I'd like to give her credit, and I'd like to give her recognition, and I'd like mostly to share with her how much I've enjoyed her creations. I can't imagine doing one of these without them in the background. But talking about visions today, in particular, a vision that's been with me for 30 plus years. And it's just as much with me today as it has ever been. Now, what I don't know about this vision, as I go into an explanation and share with you what this vision entails, what it consists of, this consistent vision that's been with me. Now, I wonder if it will be restricted to the visionary realms, or will it indeed manifest itself physically? As I've always said, and will continue to say, time will tell, because I simply don't know. And I think that these videos that I started only in January of this year, started in January of this year, perhaps these are the physical manifestations of this long occurring vision. My vision was to establish a healing center, a Zen healing center. And I felt, early on, I felt it was a psychological, a mental, spiritual, emotional sanctuary. But a few years back, 5 years, I don't know, when I was blessed with the Blue Buddha, when I gave permission for the Blue Buddha to come and reside with me, where he's been, without exception, almost continuously since the time that I was asked if he could enter. Blue Buddha is the medical healing Buddha, especially in the Tibetan tradition, but other Buddhist sects accept him. And as I am a practitioner of no particular Buddhist manifestation as we find it today, mine is eclectic, and I told you that I went from the Raja Yoga, the path of royalty, the path aimed at silencing the mind, in the hopes that clarity will come. And this switched when I relaxed the rigor that I applied, that I thought was necessary for the Raja yogic practice, this conquering of the mind. Well, the days of conquering are well behind me, and conquered not did I. In my best Yoda impression. Can't get the voice, but the intent was there. But other than adopting and adapting, choosing to discard or at least underemphasize tracks that were less than productive for me, came up with this eclectic. So I take what I want, what resonates, from whatever source, and it's certainly not limited to Buddhism. But anyway, this vision I had of a healing center, and it comes under the umbrella of Zen. because whatever Zen is, I like it. And the name was going to be Zen Healing Center. And now the only thing that is probably changed is that if it does become manifest in a physical form, it will be called Zen with a smile. But back to the motivation, I felt that I could construct, create a sanctuary, a safe harbor, shelter from the storm, a place that people could come to rejuvenate, to get away from their worldly cares. A place by its very nature that would be isolated, both physically and from all the input that we get in this crazy world. No phones, no TV, no internet. Just a place of sanctuary, a place to heal. And I've always intended it, I've always intended from the very beginning to be a place for families, as well as, anyway, to be available to everyone. And as this Blue Buddha, as I mentioned, I started talking about the Blue Buddha coming in, I realized that he was bringing with him and utilizing me as a vessel for physical healing. He told me that sitting between the throat chakra and let's go down between the heart chakra and the throat chakra, sitting here, that he could inspire me, he could bless me with words when they came from the heart, would have healing powers. When they came from the mind, he wanted no part of that. He said, that's others' domain. You can look into that if you want. But what I see in you is what comes from your heart that leaves your mouth. It's in this process that I want to bless with my powers. The Blue Buddha talking now, with his powers of healing. And his healing included physical, emotional, mental, spiritual. It was inclusive. All that he ever excluded is, he just told me all bets are off. When it comes from here to here, he's not in the middle of the process. He's not sitting here blessing my words. He's sitting here blessing them. And he shares with me that there is another chakra between the heart and the throat. In the gray, green heart, blue throat range of colors, there is another chakra. And he let me in that there's actually many more chakras than we can perceive. But let's see, I'm throwing that out there to see if there's anyone else, or anything else about evolution, about chakras not being limited to 7. Well, The seventh is not really in the body, but I've heard talk of chakras beyond. But as I get more sensitive, I can feel other energies, other wheels along, basically from the spine to above the head. I can sense other ones just as simply putting my hands out like this. I can feel the energy circles. Hallmarks of chakras. I'm not saying that chakras are here, but I feel the same thing in the soles of my feet, in my high arches. I have abnormally high arches, and they contain the same energy. And as far as I know, chakras are energy systems, energy sources vibrating at the frequency conducive, most helpful to that area of our body. So anyway, the Blue Buddha came into play earlier, but he came into play long after my visions of my healing center, which remain for the most part the same. All I mentioned earlier is Zen healing center will be replaced with Zen with a smile, because that's what I can offer. That's my gift. That's what I can do to help. Is smile. So this center, how did I visualize it? Well, I visualized enough to share. This would be I asked her to design 2 sets of clothing utilizing the Dalai Lama's color, maroon and gold. 2 different, and probably I would have several of each, but to create 2 different designs that I could wear. And this was while I was constructing my spiritual center, and this is what she's come up with. And maybe the next step for me is to find her. Maybe the next step is to make these real. Ask someone to create these for me. Find a seamstress who can find a t-shirt, find an artist who can create these images for me, because they're perfect. I had no input, just the colors, and this is what she came up with. And I always chuckle because I've been bald as long as I can remember, from late 20s. Already seriously balding at that time. But she gave me a scarf cover up. And you know, I have lots of scarves, but seldom only to protect the sun. I've grown quite fond of my bald head. Not that I'm attached to it in any way, but I like to share it with the world. And seldom do I feel the need, other than to protect my head, do I feel the need to cover it. Kind of interferes with that. So this is the uniform. It just dawned, and as I'm talking, I have to follow through on these 2 things. I have to get these made And maybe then I'll have the opportunity to utilize them. At the very least, I can wear these for the efforts that I put in to my videos now. But what I pictured is, it was very precise, a mountain coming down. And I love the foothills. I love being right at the base of a mountain and level land. This gentle curvature. I've been warned a lot about rock slides and things like that, since we are subject to typhoons and earthquakes here. But that didn't play into it because I wasn't too concerned about, but I could visualize this. And it's a tropical jungle rainforest area where a grassy plain meets up to it in a gentle curving up. And other than this, the only physical requirement or physical part, other than the mountains meeting the plains, was a freshwater spring. Now that makes it tough, doesn't it? But the freshwater spring is pivotal to the creation of my center, because it would come from the spring. The spring. The first thing that I would do is make a pond. Make a pond surrounded by rocks, and have special meditation rocks in the fine rocks that are comfortable to sit in. That you could put your feet in the ponds. Now, we have the spring and the pond, rocks around, but things that come in the spring, that should be carp, fish. There should be fish. There should be turtles with rocks that they could, in the center, that they could come on to rest, to sun, safe from anybody bothering them. And then water lilies with the big floating platforms with the beautiful flower coming up. And the other one, the lotus that comes from the muck below and penetrates and opens to such beauty. So water lilies, lotus, turtles, fish, place to meditate with feet dangling the water. This is the first circle. And as this circle expands, because this is the vision that I had, that it would be circular and it would expand, and it would be a slow process, because it'd be just basically me doing the work. And as it got bigger, I wanted to incorporate other water features. I wanted to have some kind of structured place that you could sit in warm water and cold water, water that could be treated with herbs, with healing herbs. Lava rock structures where you could go inside. Low impact structures with tree ferns and vines and all kinds of moss on the rock. Unobtrusive, but structures where that people could go in, enjoy privacy, where there could be a section for men, a section for women, and a third section for families. Much in the tradition that Zazen, much of the tradition of onsen in Japan, hot springs, cold springs, and outside of these structures would be outdoor shower facilities. Of course, indoors in my onsen style hot spring, cold spring environment would be showers, so that in the Japanese tradition again, you could clean yourself thoroughly before you used the facilities. And everything has to be spotlessly clean. So this will take some work to keep it such. But we have the shower areas surrounded the meditation pond, another circle shower, kind of a spa in its most rustic sense. And this would be the hub, these two concentric circles, the pond, the shower, onsen, cold plunge, with adequate, beautiful benches to sit and renew. Get in the water, get out and sit, get back into water. As long as you want it, the facility is there to be used. Showers. And what happens after? In onsen, I spend a lot of time in Japan with friends in onsen. You get a tatami room, and after you're in there, you come, take a nap, stretch out. So, tatami rooms, leisurely tatami rooms, in a minimalist Zen tradition, would surround the hot springs, the spa, the natural spa. And you're looking, I see this is a minimum of 5 years work just to get the hub of the wheel that I'm building. The hub has, so you've meditated, you've relaxed in a sauna environment, you've moved on to stretch out in a beautiful, cool grotto tatami rooms where more natural than man-made structures, and everything that is man-made is not. It's come from natural, from nature's gifts to us. And as you've rested, now what? Well, think food would be on your mind. So the next part of the hub, my hub's quite big, the next part of the hub, circular, is food. Simple, wholesome. I was a vegetarian for 30 years until I discovered that it didn't really work for my body. It was part of my Raja Yoga, my rigorous denial of self, rigorous desire of bodily needs or cares, rigorous elimination. And when I discovered part of the process of letting go and lightening up was that I needed to have more protein and less carbohydrates and completely switch my diet. And this continues to be very useful. For me, it's been about 4 years, I guess. Weight fell off. Energy levels improved. I'm feeding my body what it needs to be fed, rather than following some doctrine that forbid me, that limits my options. I open my options in every way. And I was rewarded with the largest reward of all, returning, recognizing, embracing the source. So this circular, I still believe, simple foods. I don't eat a wide variety of foods, but this pretty limited diet is not for everyone. And I do this because it's what suits me, not because it's following any regime. So to provide nurturing, wholesome food, the dining room, surround the dining room, outside of the dining room. So now we have the hub. Here's the hub of my structure. The spokes going out. To support a dining room, the circular dining room that's enclosing the other two, the pond and the water features, the spa, the natural spa, dining room, circular dining room, and kitchen area is the first thing that's outside of the spoke, the center. Maybe right here between two spokes, in between two spokes. Now the idea of these spokes in this circle is to lead out to the rim of the tire with spokes, 10, 12, 14, who knows, that are paths directing people to their own private quarters. So around this, the rim, around the rim of my wheel, of my wagon wheel, with the spokes leading to it, again in a circular pattern, is places to sleep. And the space between the spokes is really critical because it's intended to be landscaped in a natural way with music everywhere, spiritual, relaxing, nature music is available to everyone as they walk from the dining room to their private abodes along the outside of the wheel. And there you have my vision. And it really hasn't changed much. It's always intended that music, sound, is critical in the process. Some place that leaves the world behind. We can tell if it's 18th, 19th, 20th, or 25th century. And this is a place that people can come to find sanctuary, inspiration if they're so inclined to be inspired, a sense of well-being in a completely mindful environment. So by sharing today, as I've shared this vision with people close to me for a number of years, anyone that would really listen actually, and many that probably weren't listening too closely, or as I'm wont to do, I'm repeating myself. Oh yeah, this story again. My brother reminds me constantly, yeah, you told me. And I'm just thinking, hey, little patience for the old dude. I'm enjoying it. You can just tune out. Rather than remind me that I'm yet again repeating myself. Yeah. So I'm hoping that by sharing this on a video, that is one step closer to manifesting. But what I'm completely relaxed about is my old que sera, sera. What will be, will be. What won't be, won't be either. And it's up to me to sustain, maintain my equanimity no matter what.